if you don't mind, could you dumb down NFL contracts for me and specifically talk to maybe using, Kirk Cousins' latest contract as an example of some of the details that most fans don't realize?
First thing I look at a contract is when can a team get out? And so that's tied in with guaranteed money. Typically, if an agent can negotiate a deal where we know the player is going to be there for at least 2 years, that's a good starting point. And then 3 years is really good. So in Kirk's case, you have to look at what is fully guaranteed at signing. So in the National Football League, if a player were to be released, the NFL team has to submit a form to the NFL and essentially say, hey, we are releasing this player because either his skill, an injury, or the salary cap. Now, usually it's skill. So if they're going to be able to release one for any one of those three, a player for any one of those three reasons, then as agents, we say, hey, you're going to pay this guy those $10 regardless of skill, injury, and cap. So you may see in some analysis online, SIC, that's skill, injury, cap. So when a contract is fully guaranteed at signing, or what is fully guaranteed at signing, that's what that refers to. In Kirk's case, his contract's pretty flat in the sense, and then we look at cash flow. So he's going to make 62.5 in year one, but through 2 years he's at 90, which is his 45 million average, right? In an ideal world, we'd have a little bit more money in year two, but you can't get everything. So there's some trading. All 90 million is fully guaranteed at signing, and then in year three in his contract, he's got 10 million that's guaranteed for injury at signing, that at the beginning of year two, so a year from now, that'll convert to a full guarantee. So I refer to that as a practical guarantee. It's not fully guaranteed at signing, but there's no way he's not going to get that 10 million, right? So that's where the 100 million guarantee comes in, 90 fully at signing, the extra 10, which starts as injury only and then converts to a full. So the first thing I always look at is when can the club get out and how does the guaranteed money work? Then I look at cash flow, and then we look at other details. For example, a couple of our wins in Kirk's contract, a lot of times you'll see what we call a per game roster bonus. And a per game roster bonus means that for every game the guy dresses, he gets paid more money. Well, we don't want that as agents and players, because if he doesn't dress, he loses the money. Teams want that. So if he doesn't dress, they may have to go find somebody else where they can allocate those dollars, right? Chase Young just left your team, went to New Orleans, and he's got 7.9 million in per games. I think it's 470,000 per game. So let's say he's healthy, he passes physical, and he rolls his ankle and misses 10 games. That's 4.7 million gone forever, right? So per games are not good for players. And in Kirk's case, we don't have any, which is pretty amazing coming off a torn Achilles. The other thing is, especially for a veteran, an older veteran like Kirk, you don't want a workout bonus, because then you have to be there the entire program. And it gives a guy like Kirk, flexibility in the off season if he doesn't have a workout bonus. And so he doesn't. And that was always a debate, which was fine with Minnesota, but Atlanta, he doesn't have any of that. So when we talk about guarantees and cash flow and structure of a contract, those are the things we're kind of looking at. And then, of course, we know what every team or every player in the league is making. We have our own data where we analyze, percentages by season, all those kind of things. But that's all part of the structural points of a contract. I don't know if you learned one thing, if I made it more complicated, we could talk hours about contracts, but that's kind of the high level view.
Right. No, I think that's fascinating because, again, as an average NFL fan, the example of Chase Young is great because, that's something that I would never, think to dig up or to at least see. And it's not something that's advertised when the player signs, at least, on Twitter or other websites. It doesn't say, hey, Chase Young signed this deal. Oh yeah, by the way, he has this many per game roster bonuses. So I think going a level deeper kind of showcases some of those details that, again, I think the average fan just fails to see and fails to realize. But for Chase, a guy who has struggled with injury, again, it seems like a team friendly contract, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think there's the team protected himself in case of further injury. When I first started as an agent, I was in the league when the salary cap was instituted, and it was so different back then. And then I became an agent, and we had to rely on whatever the NFLPA would give us, and which was fine. And we were able to do our own research, but there was nothing online back then. There are two websites in particular I think maybe the average fan would enjoy going to: Spotrac, SPOTRAC.com, and they've got every sport, and then overthecap.com. Both of these sites do a great job of following individual players, teams, who has cap space, who doesn't. Um, they now have models where you can have fun and say, okay, if we trade Joey Bosa, this will create this much cap space, and so they're really kind of cool websites, and I tap into both of those websites now every day. We don't rely solely on that because we have to make sure the data is right, but those are two websites I think as a fan that you can enjoy, really understanding your team's salary cap situation and the ramifications of when a guy's cut, dead money, all these things that you maybe hear us talk about that you don't completely understand.